First off, it's all about the U. Today in the second part of the 12-part series on our 2010 opponents. Today we're going to talk about the opponent on 9/11 up in Columbus, Ohio, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Some background on the Buckeyes. They're in the Big Ten. They won the league title last year, beating Iowa in a classic up in the Horseshoe late in the year. They went 11-2 overall, 7-1 in the Big Ten, and finished number 6 in the final polls. This year there are big expectations for the Buckeyes, i.e. getting back to the BCS title game and winning it this time, after coming up short a couple times after winning in 2002. Their offense last year averaged 369.4 yards per game, while their defense allowed just 262.3 yards a game, including almost 91 yards on the ground a game allowed. That's impressive, folks. They did lose some key players to graduation and in the end with the NFL draft. They lost Doug Worthington, Thaddeus Gibson, Kirk Coleman, and also Spittler to the draft. And they also lost Aaron Petrie. But still, let's make no mistake, this team is still very loaded. And to emphasize this, they return 25 seniors, including 10 starters who are either first or second team preseason All-American or Big Ten players, 6 of them on defense. Starting with Cameron Hayward. He had 46 tackles last year, 21 solo tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. And they have a very damn good linebacking core in Ross Holman, who was their leading tackler last year with 108, 57 of them solo, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 5 interceptions. Jamale Hines, 57 tackles, 28 of them solo, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 INTs. And Brian Roll, who was their second leading tackler last year with 95, he had 37 of them solo, 7 tackles for loss, and 1 interception. But they also returned 2 very good corners in Devin Torrance, who had 2 INTs, 35 tackles, and Chimidi Chekwa with 43 tackles. But these are 2 very good corners. They did lose 2 safeties, both their safeties from last year's Rose Bowl, and that will be the question mark in their secondary. But other than that, this is still a team that is very, very dangerous and very loaded. They also returned 4 starters on offense. Dane Sansenbacher, who had 6 touchdowns last year, 570 yards on 36 receptions. 2 very good offensive linemen, 2 seniors in Brian Browning and Justin Boren, but they also return a couple other juniors, Brewster and Brandon Sane, who is a dual threat, but he's mostly a guy on the ground that's very, very tough and physical, but also has speed too. He had 963 all-purpose yards last year, 729 of them rushing on 145 carries, and 224 yards receiving on 17 receptions. He had 6 touchdowns overall, 4 of them on the ground, 2 in the air. And of course they bring back Pryor. Yes, he had the breakout game at the Rose Bowl against Oregon, but is it just a one-game wonder, or is this maybe a sign he's becoming more of a leader on offense for them? Ohio State is coached, as you know, by Jim Tressel, who's in his 9th year up in Columbus. His overall record is quite impressive. 94-20, an .825 winning percentage. He has 6 Big Ten titles, either shared or won outright, and the national championship in 2002, which is another story entirely. I don't want to get too much into that. From McCain's perspective, this is the measuring stick game to see where we are on the national stage. This is a team that some believe will be in Glendale playing for a BCS title, that being Ohio State. We cannot make mistakes in this game, especially in a hostile environment up there in the Horseshoe. We have to get the crowd out of the game early and play classic Hurricane football. That means getting the ground game going, getting the passing game going, getting the tight ends involved early, and use our talent and weapons to our advantage. And I'm sure Whipple will have a plan for that. We have waited 7 long years, people, to get payback in this game. There's no way, in my opinion, we will let an opportunity like this slip away again. I really don't. This is a focused team that's on a mission, And Randy Shannon needs a signature win on the road. Since he's been the head coach here, he has not. He has come up. We have come up short in signature wins on the road. 2007 at Oklahoma got destroyed 51-13. 2008 at Florida, in the game for 3 quarters, but in the 4th quarter, Florida took over 126-3. This will be our 3rd road game against a top 5 opponent in Randy's 4 years here. Ohio State will likely come in number 2. Maybe 1, but more likely they'll come in 2. We have to know where we are. We need that signature road win against a top 5 opponent. Now, as for Ohio State, the focus of this preview, they should win the Big Ten this year. I mean, they have to go to Iowa and they have to go to Happy Valley, but you have to get the sense that this is a team that is built to win the national championship this year. They're built for that. But the question is, can they run the table? We'll get that answer on 9/11 when we go up to the Horseshoe. So that's it about Ohio State, but Ohio State's still a loaded team, so we know we're going to have our hands full with them up there no matter what. So tomorrow when I do the 3rd part of the 12-part video series, I'll turn to another team that's favored to win their conference, the Pittsburgh Panthers. We'll see you then, and as always, go Canes.